If you really want to understand the Uyghur people, you've got to understand their connection to the horse. It's this bond that goes way beyond just history and, honestly, right into the realm of myth. It's a story where the horse isn't just an animal, it's a fundamental part of the soul. For the nomadic Uyghurs out there on the Central Asian steppes, the horse was never just an animal. It was, and this is the beautiful part, their wings. It gave them the freedom to hunt, to travel, to survive. And that idea right there, the horse as the wing of the people, that's the key to this whole story. So to really get this, we've got to go way back to the beginning, to see how this incredible relationship was first forged in those vast, demanding landscapes. Right from the get-go, the horse was everything. In ancient times, it literally meant survival. Then, when things got more heated during periods of conflict, it became a tool of war, shaping this legendary warrior culture. And this skill on horseback got so famous that by the time of the Tang Dynasty, it was actually a high-fashion trend in foreign courts to ride like a Uyghur. And you know what? Even today, it's still a core symbol of their identity. And check this out. We have this quote from a Tang Dynasty poet. This shows it wasn't some niche skill. It was a full-blown cultural export. For half a century, the absolute elite of another empire thought Uyghur horsemanship was the pinnacle of style, the coolest thing you could do. So what happens when a culture built on incredible warrior skills finds itself in times of peace? Well, those skills don't just vanish. No way. They transform, they become sport, and they build a whole new, vibrant tradition. And this is where things get really fun. It gave rise to this whole range of amazing equestrian sports. We're talking about intense games like Oglak Tartish, super exciting horse races, the high art of mounted archery, and a game that would eventually take over the world, Chagan. Okay, so take a look at this. This is Oglak Tartishish, also known as the goat pulling game. And yeah, it might look like just a wild free-for-all, but don't be fooled. This is a masterclass in strategy, raw strength, and just pure unadulterated horsemanship. It's basically the skills of the hunt and the battlefield turned into one incredible game. And then you've got mounted archery. I mean, come on. Ancient writers described Uyghur warriors as being so good they could be at a full gallop and shoot an arrow backwards just as accurately as they could forwards. That's not just a sport, right? That is the ultimate expression of unity between a human, an animal, and a weapon. But out of all these amazing games, one of them had a destiny that was going to stretch way beyond the steppes. Let's dig into Chalgan, a game you probably know by a completely different name. The journey this game took is just mind-blowing. On one side here, you see an ancient Uyghur manuscript showing Chagan being played. And on the other, a modern international polo match. It's the same core game, the same spirit, just separated by centuries and entire continents. So what is Chagan? Well, it's a team sport on horseback where you use a long mallet to hit a ball into a goal. Pretty straightforward. But its origin story is what's so cool. It starts right here in Central Asia. From there, it travels the Silk Road, spreading to Persia, then to India, which is where British officers discovered it, fell in love with it, and brought it back to the West, renaming it polo. And the evidence for how deep these roots go is just undeniable. This incredible statue of a Chalgan player was found in a tomb in the Turpan region, and it dates as far back as the 5th century. Just let that sink in for a second. This game has been played here for at least 1,500 years. But what happens to a legacy like this in the modern world? Well, the story takes a pretty poignant turn when we look at the life of one of its last great champions. This is Tedbiryay, an absolutely extraordinary equestrian who, in the late 20th century, really seemed destined to carry this ancient tradition of horsemanship to brand new heights. Her story is a modern echo of that entire legacy we've been talking about. Her talent was just immense, totally off the charts. In 1993, she wins double gold in a national competition. In 95, she's breaking records in dressage. And then in 1998, she makes history as the very first Uyghur rider to compete in the prestigious Asian Knights competition. But here's the thing. She was competing against just incredible odds. At that international competition, a French coach was completely stunned. He said, "This is the first time I have seen a rider come to an international competition without a trainer." Her skill was just pure, raw, inherited talent. But despite her world-class ability, her career was cut short. The reason? Simply a lack of funding. And since period, no other Uyghur rider has managed to reach that international stage. It's like the echo of 1,000 years of horsemanship just went silent. But a culture's spirit, that's a really hard thing to extinguish. Even when the central element is removed, the memory, the feeling can find new and really surprising ways to express itself. Which leads us to a fascinating question, right? How does a culture that was built on the back of a horse survive when the horses aren't really part of daily life anymore? Well, the answer is like this. It survives in the sargati, a traditional high-flying swing that is so much more than just a simple ride. It is a living, breathing memory of the horse. So the mechanics are simple and ancient. We're talking over 1,000 years old. There's a big central pillar with a wheel on top, and long ropes hang down. People on the ground start pushing, and as that wheel spins faster and faster, centrifugal force takes over and just sends the riders soaring through the air. And up there, high in the sky, they aren't just swinging. No, they're performing acrobatics. They twist their bodies into positions that perfectly mimic the motions of their ancestors, leaning off a galloping horse to fire an arrow at a target. It's an incredible act of cultural memory. The real horse might no longer be part of the game, but the spirit of the ride, that feeling of freedom, the bravery, it's all still there. The wing of the people has simply found a new and beautiful way to fly.